So let's talk about data cleaning. I love to get my hands dirty with data. I worked for 20 years at a large financial firm making account corrections. They had literally tens of thousands of clients, and none of them did their spreadsheets the same way. Even when we gave them all a template, they would alter the templates ever so slightly to be unique enough still to require just a little bit of cleaning. So after what I estimate to be around 20,000 spreadsheets, I got really efficient at cleaning data in Excel. Now what we're going to do in this video is to go through a couple examples of data cleaning. There's no obstacle course here, but you definitely want to visit the Excel obstacle courses 1, 2, and advanced for all the shortcuts that I'm using in this video. I'm not going to walk you through all the shortcut keys I use here because they're covered in all my earlier videos. I might call them out, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you creative ways to solve common cleaning issues. I'm going to be using this website for the examples. It's by Foresight BI, so shout out to them for being awesome and putting these out there for free. Instead of providing a download in the description, I'm going to provide this link. That way you can access the samples and try yourself. I went through all these cleaning exercises a while ago, and I'm going to record this video and edit it lightly so you can see some of the wheels turning to go from clunky solving to a more streamlined approach. From my experience with Excel data cleaning, I always followed a method of trying things on a couple lines or rows before applying it to the whole data set. When I go through this, look for where I apply this method. Maybe it will help you in your current data cleaning process. All of these data sets are pretty small here. Again, this is from foresightbi.com. I use the first 4 examples called badly structured sales data for the basis of what I made in the video called How to Make a Bad Spreadsheet and How to Fix It in 30 Seconds. It wasn't exactly the same data, but the same in spirit. So let's jump to the jumbled customer details, which is number 5. If you click here, you can download. On these downloads, you can see the 2 sheets we have here, the dirty sheet you clean up and another sheet that shows you what the cleaned up version should look like. When I see something that I know needs parsed, I usually go straight to the text to columns to see if it's picked up by Excel's intelligence, like commas or spaces or something. When I do that, I can kind of see the problem, which is that we have weird spaces. Check out this example. That appears to be okay, but when we get to this point, it kind of goes sour. So whoever created this data, baked into the data itself are some of the labels. I see name, address, age, and gender. I know that those are probably the titles of the columns I want to have. Ideally, I'm thinking it would be nice to have it parsed based on these 4 headers. So I think one thing we can do here is first list the headers and put them over here for safekeeping. Now I have a list to work from. First I'm going to do a find and replace for name and replace with the @ sign. You can pick another character, it usually doesn't matter. And we'll do the same with address. Age, same with age. And now let's try our text to columns with a delimiter instead of space. I'm going to type the @ sign. See how that goes. I'm just going to hit finish. And look what I've got. It does appear that I've got some spaces in front of these. But for that I'm going to use my trim formula. That eliminates spaces usually where you want it eliminated. And there we go. We've got it parsed out. The name of the game is touching all the data as little as possible, so sometimes you'll see me make a mess of it, then undo some things to reverse it out, and then just redo. Okay, the next cleaning exercise is medicine data with combined quantity and measure. So here we've got 0 and bottle mashed together, but what we want is 0 and bottle in separate columns. Going by clean data rules, you should have every field represent unique things. So split the quantity, combine quantity, and measure into separate column fields. And when you're done, the sum should be 17,600. What I like to do sometimes is just take a screenshot of relevant data just for safekeeping later. So let's download this, and here we have the wrong one. This is the mixed number one. Where's the one with the combined quantity and measure? Maybe they're switched. Yeah, these are switched. So 6 has 7's download data and vice versa. Just a note for you guys and the owners of the website. So pulling up this download, this is just a mess here. Let's look and see how many different types of packaging things we have. Looks like we have amp, bottle, vial, pieces, tube. So how do we separate the two? Again, I'll go straight to text to columns, try fixed width, see what we come up with. Pardon the mouse use here. And I can tell this isn't going to work because we've got some cells with multiple digit numbers in front. Let's just do a unique formula. Sometimes I'll do this to get an idea of how many different combinations there are. I think I can do better than this. Let's make it like an assembly line. We'll do a substitute formula, assigning the number for old text. New text is blank. We're going to run this down like an assembly line. We have to lock our references, don't we? Lock our rows. So for example, you see this, once it gets here, eliminates the 2 from the data point. And this one, once it gets to the 8, eliminates the A, but looks like decimal is another problem. So let's add decimal to our chorus line. And we should have everything all set in the last column. That was an interesting solution. So actually, I think I'm going to go about this just by taking the whole thing through the chorus line instead of using unique and some kind of lookup. So take it here. So it was substitute the old text. We know to lock that row. New text, we want nothing. And obviously, I'd recruit Python or Power Query for something a little more robust than this if we had a massive data set and no way to school the providers of the data on fixing the source data. Sometimes you'll see me do solutions twice. I do that so I can feel confident in my solution and maybe improve on it. And at the end of the assembly line, we just get the bare text. And then we can use another substitute formula to get the number piece of it isolated. And we'll use the bare text as the old text, blank as the new text, and that just leaves us with the number. So I like to use auto filter to audit just to see what we've got. This column should be all numbers. So a better way to do this is to use the formula isNumber, which is just a true-false. Autofilter is a helpful tool in auditing in conjunction with the true or false logic formula. These are all true, and we've solved this one. But let's also check our totals on both sheets. $35,200. We've got the total on the sheet we cleaned. Good. On to the next one. So again, this website has these flip-flops, so this is going to be for number 7. In this example, it looks like we have problems with some data translation. Maybe they scanned a PDF or something else that made some of the numbers recognized as letters. So in the clean example, all these columns should be numbers, and the total of all these needs to be that number there. Now we've got some dirty examples here. This is kind of unique, right? We have I instead of 1, O's instead of zeros. So I'm going to try to leverage the formula isNumber again. This data is 5 columns wide, so we can copy our isNumber formula over 5 more columns. Here we can identify our trues and falses. I'll copy the headers and make them another format color in order to keep track. And we can leverage autofilter to help us again. Here we've got some falses. I'll retype these for now, but we're going to look into a better solution after we've gone through a couple of these. I'm going to undo this because the less manipulation of data, the better. Ideally, it might be another solution using regular expressions, Power Query, Python, etc. if this is like a mammoth data set. Instead, we're going to use a big ol' find and replace. Over here, I'll put a little guide of what we want to replace. I like to do that sometimes when I need to keep track of stuff. Again, if this is something that's too massive or complex, we'll look into another unique solution based on how complex it is. But for this, we can pinpoint all the non-number characters and just keep a little chart. We're going to find all the I's, replace with 1s. Okay, the problem here is that we include the header and we don't want to replace the I's and the headers with 1s, so undo that. Now I'm going to replace O's with zeros, replace S with 5, and that's not case sensitive unless you go to options and check a box. So let's do our auto filter auditing. True, 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 true. Okay, so these are all values now. When I highlight and compare to the clean sheet, it looks like some of the totals are off. Why are we off some? We got to see what the issue is here. To do that, we'll do a logic check between sheets. If you type an equal sign, go over one cell, and then another equal sign, go to another cell, Excel will tell you true that both cells are equal or false that they are not. So I'm showing that this cluster of cells are not equal on both sheets. So I can do now, since both sheets are in the same order, is see what row we have a discrepancy in. Then use Control, tap G to pull up the Go-To window. I can type in a cell reference and work to that cell. So the error is in row 1086. Looks like it's a 0 on the clean sheet. It's 0.5 on the dirty sheet. So we know the next row is 1088, so we can just arrow down a couple to check. 0 on the clean sheet, 0.5 on the dirty. Next row got 0 in the clean data and 0.2 in the dirty. Actual quantity received. So let's check some of the other auto filters to see where there are discrepancies. True, true. Okay, so I bet if we zeroed all these out, we'll get the total. And we do. Of course, logically, I think the zeros don't make sense because they're calling this the clean set. I'm zeroing them out for example. But to be super exact, we can do an auto total. We can do an auto total on both data sets and then logic check on that. So this one's called Invoices with Merged Categories and Merged Amounts. Looks like we have order ID column, category column, and amount column. But someone made a single row for everything instead of putting them in different columns. So someone who hates data did this, but let's not blame. Some people learn Excel and they don't use it as much as we do, and then they hand it off to us and we have to fix it. I see data cleaning as kind of a puzzle sometimes, and I love solving puzzles, so I'm okay with it. In addition to that, we have some more work because each of the items has an order, and the order ID should have a corresponding price. And since they're kind of on different planes, we need to shuffle them like cards almost. So the person or system that created this separated data by this vertical line, or as we call it, a pipe symbol. So I'll start by taking this group of data and put it under this group. Since it's in line with the other data, we can take the labels and apply them to what we pasted. Do my text to columns, delimited, other. I'm going to type the pipe symbol, which is shift and backslash. And now we can see we parse the data into columns in a consistent way. So I'm thinking our next step is to stack the data. To keep track, I make this all one color. So we can cut and paste without losing track. You'll see me do that a lot, so I don't lose place. So I don't lose my place when I move data around. You can always change colors back to normal when you're done. From here, you just sort by column B and do some deletion of irrelevant rows, and you've got your solution. This is okay, but I think we can do it better. If you review the website that I'm getting these sheets from, they also have free content if you sign up with an email. And they use cool Power Query methods for their solutions, so check that out too. So this time I'm going to do some transposing. If I transpose everything, I also copy and paste labels to make sure I'm still in order. We can do our text to column. So we have our information horizontally. So let's transpose it back. Now I have to copy down the order IDs to make this work before I stack them. Again, I'll change the cell color so I can keep track. When I do this, I sort the column by the most blank cells. Now I'll pull this clean data over to the dirty sheet and do my logic check. Looks like I have some spaces littering the data. This just messes me up when I try to sort them. And I know this will eliminate the spaces in between compound words, so it's not really ideal, but again, we can always just undo with Control-Z when we have weird situations. And we really just want to compare quickly, and then we can revert the data back to its previous state. So I have to sort by 2 columns in order to get them in the exact same order. And doing this for both sets, we can verify that they are the same. I'm sure everybody has different opinions on how to clean this data, and I want to hear them. Go ahead and put them in the comments what you might do differently. Always the name of the game is to avoid direct manipulation in the data as much as possible. And I hope the demonstration was helpful to see how you can apply the skills learned in my other videos to practical situations. Thanks for watching. Till next time.